think about the city of Miami, what sort of game-changing ideas come to light? There are some big rappers that may have changed the face of music. There's some great athletes here who may have changed the face of their sport. But we talk about cars, so we have to talk about game-changing automobiles. This is the 2016 Honda HR-V, and you might not think it's anything special when I talk about the word game-changing. But what we're looking at here is a vehicle that's basically in a brand new segment. There are some luxury examples out there, but this is the first non-luxury subcompact crossover. And it's going to be huge, and I'm about to tell you why.
So what are we dealing with here? Well, we're dealing with something that's basically a lifted Fit wagon. That's kind of a good way to think of this car. It rides on the Honda Fit platform, but it's a little taller, and it's got a little more room inside. Under the hood, we're not dealing with a Fit engine. Instead, we have a Civic engine. It's a 1.8 liter, 4-cylinder engine, and it's making 141 horsepower and 127 pound-feet of torque. Now, you can opt for one that sends power just to the front wheels, or you can do one that does all-wheel drive, and Honda makes a pretty good all-wheel drive system. The standard gearbox you're going to expect to find in this car is a CVT. Now, Honda is one of those automakers that's making a pretty decent CVT. You can have paddles on the steering wheel to shift it yourself. You can put it into a sport mode where it creates 7 preset sportier ratios. So it doesn't totally kill the driving experience. Yes, the noise isn't too great. It's a little buzzy and annoying, but the actual driving experience is fine. There is an option though. Honda is offering up the HR-V with a 6-speed manual gearbox, which is the one I'm driving now. And you don't have to stick yourself in the base model to get it. If you do though, you're gonna find a fairly well-appointed car. You've got a nice audio display here. You've got heated front seats because we're not in the base model, we are in the EX, which is the middle of the 3 trims. So I've got heated cloth seats, very comfortable cloth seats I might add. And on top of that, you've got everything else that all the other HR-V trims would have. That means McPherson front strut suspension. You've got torsion beams out back. I think that affects the overall ride quality a little bit. On average pavement, this car is bumpier than I expect it to be. But once the pavement gets a little rougher, it actually smooths out. It's kind of odd. I think it has to do with this dual valved piston setup that they have for the suspension damping here on the car. The steering has electric power steering, as everything does these days. It's very light. There's not tons of feel there, but you know, you're not going to be hustling this thing around. That's not what this car is about. What we're dealing with is a vehicle that packages smart usability with affordability, and it happens to look good on the outside while doing it. As much as I love wagons, crossovers are what people are buying. We're dealing with an emergent segment here in the subcompact crossover market, as this might be one of the first non-luxury examples to come to market. You have, the BMW X1, you can count the Mercedes GLA, the Audi Q3. Those things out there are small crossovers. But now we're gonna get cars like this, and then you're gonna have the Mazda CX-3, and then there's a slew of other examples coming to market. So for Honda to stake that claim and say, here's our example, they're gonna try to emerge as a leader in that segment. And there's probably a pretty good chance that's going to be what happens. If you take a look at the CR-V, that's a car that sells tremendously well. 8 of the last 11 years, it's been the best-selling car in its class. I would be shocked if the HR-V doesn't wind up there as well. So it should be no surprise that I expect the CVT to be the volume seller. Most people aren't going to opt for the manual. The manual is the one that's more fun to drive though. You can extract more from the motor. Just leave it in gear. I mean, it's a Civic motor, just rev it up. And it's a Honda manual gearbox, so it shifts wonderfully. Honda nails their manuals. That's no secret, everybody knows that. So you can have a little bit of fun with this. Surprisingly, brake feel is pretty progressive. What we have here is a very competent, well-built vehicle. Since it is based on the Fit, you've got the Magic seat set up in the back where you can do the 60-40 split, or you can lift it up to put tall things back there, so you can have tons of cargo space. You can have a little bit of cargo space and put 3 people in the car. There's tons of options. It's the Magic seat. Woo! So what's something like this gonna cost? Well, Honda is saying that it will come in, the bare bones one will be just under $20,000, and that's awesome. Any car under $20,000 is a heck of a deal, especially these days because there aren't that many bad cars anymore. fully optioned out EXL Navi version, they're saying is under 30. That's awesome too. So you can just get a loaded HRV, stay on the good side of $30,000 and have yourself a good car. You don't need to spend that much though, just get the EX. You can do manual or CVT. You can opt for some stuff or not have it. It's the best middle of the ground road, and you'll probably be right in the mid-20s. You're getting a great car at that price. Now remember, we're not dealing with an enthusiast special here, but it's a Honda, so it's not entirely, you know, wooden at the same time. Hondas do lend themselves to the occasional bouts of sporty driving. I will say though, I have to imagine that the Mazda CX-3 will be the enthusiast choice of the bunch. I mean, the CX-5 drives wonderfully. The steering on that thing is fantastic. So the CX-3, a smaller, more nimble package, that thing's gonna be pretty awesome. But the overall better vehicle, it's probably gonna be this one, the HRV. Please subscribe to the Hooniverse. Hit the button wherever the hell it is. Let's see, if I'm looking out at you through your computer right now, subscribe would be here. So yeah, hit that button, baby. Hit subscribe, tell your friends, give us likes, do all that fun stuff. The more subscribers we get, the more we can squeak out that penny per video that YouTube pays, and try to keep bringing you cool stuff. So thanks for watching, we appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next car. Anybody out there wondering why I changed my shirt? It's because Miami gets hot and I was sweating. Also, more specifically, the real reason is that the footage I shot yesterday in car, the camera didn't friggin' record, so I had to change my shirt. Today is a different day. It's a new day. I don't know how the rest of that song goes. And I'm gonna stop there. So you can have a little bit of fun with this. Surprisingly, brake feel is pretty progressive. This Audi's all over the road. Seriously, Florida, what the fuck? It's not the illusion seat, it's the magic seat.